everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Mopars.com. Sunday, rainy Sunday here in the shop. Got absolutely flooded with mosquitoes and gnats and all kinds of stuff last night. So got the door down currently, I'd like to have it up, but we're going to get things rolling here, trying to do some housekeeping, some cleaning, and I've got a massive order from Ernst coming in tomorrow, hoping to tie up some loose ends with sockets and our full custom Ernst series. If you haven't seen that and you thought, man, yeah, I really wish I could do this and that with Ernst stuff, but they don't sell it, that series might be of interest to you if you have somehow missed it. That said, this kind of serves as a nice segue, sort of a hybridization, because what we have is Ernst part number 6013. It is a wrench rail set. It'll hold up to 20 wrenches. It would run $10.95. I know what you're saying. You're like, well, throw it down. Let's see it. Well, I would, but I don't have one. What I have is 6013M. If you recall anything about Ernst, the M at the end of the part number usually means one thing. And if you're thinking, how could I make something from Ernst even better? Magnets? Yeah, that's 100% correct. So what we have snaking down, where you can hopefully see the label, is right here again, 6013M. This is $7 more you pay for the magnetic rail. In my opinion, it's worth it, especially if you're someone who either by force of slamming drawers, shoving drawers, or something as simple as you literally have to roll your cart a long distance or over, say, uneven shop floors, or there's transitions between buildings, so on and so forth, and it's jarring your tools, kind of ruining the organization, costing you time. That's when you might look to spend the extra $7, get this magnetic iteration. But according to Ernst, this will install in the toolbox drawers with magnetic tape to store and organize up to 20 wrenches, as with everything Ernst does. Right there at the bottom, proudly made in the USA and a lifetime guarantee. Not sure what could really go wrong with these. Maybe the magnetic tape starts to peel off. Maybe you had a massive, like, 2.5-inch wrench or something and it just bent one of the pegs somehow. They'll take care of you. Just give them a call, shoot them an email, whatever works best for you. Selling points on the back of the package. Holds 20 wrenches securely in your toolbox drawer. Magnetic tape provides a solid adjustable mount. Keyword here, adjustable. Pay attention to that. Graduated teeth for maximum storage. Again, that's essentially going to mean they progressively increase or progressively decrease depending on how you orient them in your box. If you've got a 3/16 wrench and you've got an 1 1/8 wrench, they have different requirements to be held properly, right? So they've kind of covered the gauntlet for you. These are fuel and solvent resistance, which is great news. Let's say you're in a hurry or you just have this on a cart that you roll from your box, you know the job you're doing. If you've got oil, transmission fluid, coolant, whatever, it's not going to tear up the plastic. So that is good news there. It'll hold more tools per square inch than other rails, and this is the big one. This is where I told you it would tie in nicely with our full custom Ernst. You can trim it easily to fit your space. Now, the way you see this fanned out, all right, that may conjure up some thoughts for some of you, and rightfully so. What you typically see with stuff like this, if it was rigid, right, it's a situation, your 1/4-inch wrench, let's say you've just got Mac Precision Torques, and for whatever reason you don't like the case, maybe it broke, you've got 1/4 to 15/16 in that set. Those are, to Max credit, long wrenches. This is just not a good day for holding on to things, apparently. But 1/4 to 15/16, your 1/4 is going to be significantly shorter than, say, your 15/16. So what you need something to do is dovetail, right? If we I can't really fit this on the mat, properly, but let's say that we've got this little KTC stone remover, right? And you can see it doesn't really fit well here. It'll nest beautifully there, but it's almost overkill. So something more like that, more like this is going to be good for that. If we could line the slots up just right. That's how wrenches are. It even varies by manufacturer. Maybe you've got stubbies, maybe you've got standard length, maybe you've got slightly longer, maybe you've got long pattern or extended length. It all changes everything. This does not have to be parallel, okay? So if we've got a situation where the pin is going to nest here, if we kept having pins, right, and they're the same size, everything's fine. But eventually you're going to get to a point with a wrench where you've got something that's more like this, significantly longer, right? And as you can see, that's not doing a good job. However, if we fan that out, you can now get that to be held a little bit better. This follows the format of a V shape, a dovetail, whatever you want to call it, and it kind of ties in with their standard wrench racks. Their wrench racks come in 2 iterations. You've sort of got your fixed and you've got your grippers. The grippers are great for grab and go, take it from your box, carry it out, take it from your cart, carry it out. Whether out is the parking lot, or if you're at home and you get a call from a buddy, you know, he was coming back into town from the races and he broke down, you can literally grab the Ernst gripper and go. I'll try to grab one of those here in a second for you. But I've got a situation here, kind of an example, if you will, probably a logical step to make, right? And what's going on is I've got a few wrenches that are just sort of problems, right? This beautiful piece right here, if you can't tell, this is not a gripper, it's one of their fixed wrench racks. If I set this down, you're going to notice something. Aside from the beautiful Gedore wrenches with a deep offset. Typically, you know, you're going to have like your dual offset in that format. This is different. This is an open end paired with that deep offset. For a long time, I had these in the US General roll cart, so I would use them more. And then I've just, as we've picked up more Icon stuff, I've kind of run out of space. And one of the reasons I was running out of space is the way these have to be stored. If you note, it's like, well, dude, it looks like you could totally compact that and like cut your space in half and even add more wrenches to get to the same spot. I would agree with you if that were the case. This is fixed. There's no adjustment there, so when I come in and I start trying to put these like you would a standard open box wrench, right? This is what we're running into. Do you see the problem? Yeah, they're fanning out because there's not enough space with the offset. That makes this kind of an inefficient item for wrenches like this. This would be the same thing if I pulled out our Stavillas, you know, the double offsets. So as great as this thing is, as much potential as it has, it's sort of not suited well for something like this. Now this one, I can come in and we'll just start here. This is a big wrench. We're going to just pick a slot and try to line it up. It's more awkward than it would seem to do that, but let's just try to get full extension here, okay? We want max support, and we'll just pretend this runs all the way to 1.5 inches or something, right? So can I come in here? Not really, right? But there's going to be a beauty in this that you will soon see. Some of you recall from our opening what it might be. If we set this up right, which I guess I was one slot off, we would have, well, I guess this would actually go back here, which would help, but in theory, we'll just pretend that this is your 5-piece wrench set that covers your sizes. Maybe it's metric. I'm able to adjust that, right? So if I had an even bigger wrench, I can fan that out. If I want this kicked in, I can make that happen, you see, and I can still, keeping this fixed, change the angle out here. Yes, you're going to have deviations across your line, but you can tailor it. You can tweak it more so than this with 2 fixed ends. These sides are not fixed. They're coming to a definitive point. These are infinitely adjustable to tailor to your A, space constraints, or B, particular wrench set. And in some cases, this might not be all to the same spec. If we had a full gauntlet of these Gedore wrenches, we could literally come in and probably stage them beautifully. But let's say that you inherited a 10 and a 13, and you're like, you know, man, these are really nice wrenches. You try to find them, the manufacturer's defunct, they don't make them anymore, you have to switch brands. You buy a 17 and 19. And then let's say that your son inherits them, or, you know, wife sells them off as soon as you've left this earth. And somebody's like, man, these are great wrenches. I can't believe I got them for 10 bucks. But I kind of want a 14 and a, 11, and I'd kind of like a 8 and a 7. Maybe they face the same thing. Maybe then they wind up with a Gedore. This allows you to kind of grow and adjust. The other thing this will do, let's just pretend that this was a 5-piece set that was everything you needed. You don't have any need for any other sizes. You're like, well, this would actually be really good because, I'd hate to come in and cut this, but I can cut that and I don't care. That's what's great about it. When you cut this off, and you can pick your segments, maybe you're dealing with oversized ratcheting wrenches that you rarely use. Think of the VHA set that we got on like the Deal Breaker that some of you picked up as well. Those are massive wrenches. Like, how many of you that bought that have used your 1.5-inch ratcheting wrench from VHA? Some of you probably have. A lot of you, you've never touched it. Some of the smaller sizes in that set, yeah, you probably pick them up and use them frequently. This could be as simple as you want to keep 3/8 through 3/4 in your main drawer up at the top because you're going to use them all the time, but then you don't really have a need for 15/16, 1.1/8, 1.25 1.5, right? You can lop this thing up. You can literally snip. I'd just suggest that you lay your wrenches out to pick your cut points. I'd also double check it and count that you have equal slots before you commit to slicing and dicing. But by doing that, you can keep your little wrenches here, and then this back end, you can even pick like, hey, this is the biggest slot here is what I've got to have for my 1.5. I'm going to run the 5 big sizes to here. You'll have some dead space here in the middle that could, in theory, create a third wrench rack. Maybe it's just to hold extensions. Maybe it's pins. Maybe it's chisels. This is essentially one tool that can turn into multiple tools for you, right? So that's kind of what we have to keep in mind and take in stride. The magnets on these, we've actually, if you recall, when we tested our big screwdriver set, they're actually pretty legit in my opinion anyway. Your opinions might vary. They're obviously not going to go through this mat and pick it up or anything, but they'll keep it in place. I feel very confident with that. So this is what you're looking at. Again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. You might just need the big. You might think like, man, I have wanted for years to quit flatlaying my big wrenches that are just overflow that I hardly ever touch. Might be once in a blue moon type of a thing. Maybe you like built a gantry crane, or you got a crane or some heavy equipment and you need that 1.5 wrench, but it's like once every 2 years type of a thing. You don't need that taking up space in your main drawer, right? Especially if you could fit, say, ratcheting wrenches or stubbies or something that you'll use much greater frequency with. Lop this thing off, get those big wrenches out of your way, sorted and organized nicely, clear up some space by getting rid of the flat lay, and go to town. So $10.95 standard, $17.95 magnetic, customizable. So if you're thinking, man, he's right, I've got, 1 to 1.5 inches, I don't touch those things. They take up so much drawer space. If I could get rid of those, I could nest a set of ratcheting wrenches. Like maybe you've looked at the icons, maybe you've got something else in mind. Maybe it's ignition wrenches, or you think like, hey, I've started hauling more. I got rid of my gas truck and have a diesel. I'd like an S wrench or a half moon wrench or something. Those giant wrenches, 1 inch plus, whatever you go to, take up a ton of space. And if you can free that up by relocating them, you've done yourself a massive favor. So $10.95 standard, $17.95 magnetic. You can mix and match. Maybe if you've got heavy wrenches, and you bought 2 sets of these, a magnetic and a standard, you can even stagger them. If you want more support, less support, again, play with extensions. It could be center punches and chisels. You got to think outside the box with stuff like this, right? So with that said, that's basically what I've got for you. I literally picked these up, A, to showcase them, and B, because I knew they were customizable, and I was trying at the time, I think I was considering these for the VHA set, ironically, and then of course I found that Hall's wrench rack that they fit in great, and those were also in the US General and got booted, ironically from the cart to another US General box. But these are kind of the same way. The Heikos, I wound up nesting those in an Ernst dripper. They work really well there. And I've got this freed up out of the packaging now and ready to use, which is what's important to me. So with that said, I'll try to stage something real quick and then we will wrap this up. Alright, so here we go. This is kind of what we've got going on here. Blue is going to indicate SAE, at least in my system, and this, beautiful, right? We're going all the way from quarter to 15/16. We skip a couple sizes. I've got my 1 1/8, and we sort of start running into other wrenches at that point, and it gets complicated. All right, back there, you'll note we've got the double offsets from Stavilla. Love those wrenches, but they're not the easiest thing to get in and out of this box. In part, we just need a bigger drawer. We need like a dedicated SAE and metric drawer. But one spot that we've got a lot of problems is here, and it's not with the wrenches themselves. They're fantastic. As you can see, this is a double open end, the Motor 10 series. We're basically going again quarter, in this case up to 15/16. And then I think I've got maybe 1 1/4 inch, and it's this massive wrench here. If you can't tell, that's an open end. It snakes underneath that because we are out of frickin' space here. Also, I think if I put that in any slot, it basically stands too tall, which is unfortunate, but again, it's a fault of the drawer. So, I want to see what we can do to adjust this using what we just brought in. Alright, so a lot has changed here, and unfortunately we have a big problem, and that's the drawer height versus the height of this organizer. These back shark fins, they both rub on the drawer. There's nothing I can do to change that aside from snip that, which we totally could. The thing that raises the next issue is just the height at which these are off of the rail. Okay, I get why they do that. You've got to have, you know, the box end of your wrench not drag, or it's not going to hold it right. Same with the opened end. With what I'm trying to organize here, which are extremely long wrenches because I gave up on my whole setup here, what we had with these double offsets, I basically had to ditch the largest 7/8 and 15/16. With the open end, we had to ditch the two biggest I've got. With these Gedore flare nut wrenches, we had to, granted this one's a massive 1 inch and 7/8. This is just not working well for this drawer height. So that is something I think you would have to consider here. If you look how much lower the gripper is, I think we've kind of got a better layout there. I even kicked what I had here out trying to make this work. This is really making me push towards just doing the metric and SAE drawers, which I've debated that, or going with the full width drawer, or really just getting a toolbox that's better suited to what I'm trying to do, but they don't make it. No one makes like 3 full width drawers outside of like very, very expensive items. So I'm gonna play with these and get you an example. It's just probably not gonna be in this drawer, unfortunately. All right, rain picking up and drawers going down, but we switch boxes, switch drawers. This is what you want to see with this. Alright, so the Husky was just a little too thin, unfortunately. The good news is, with a little taller of a drawer, look what we're able to do. These Gedore 1Bs, thanks to the offset, still have to be spaced one apart. I think we could fit like one more on this rack, but the reason we could only fit one more, we finally have the full complement of Motor 10s that I own. Granted, there's some sizes I haven't bought. Mainly I wanted, you know, up through 1 1/8, so we skipped, I think, the 1 inch, and there may be another one, but that is a very large 1 1/8 on this side. That is 1 5/16 on this end, and there is zero issue. Okay, so this gives you an idea of what this one's capable of doing. Again, with sort of a standard gripper, you would be really hard pressed of being able to pull that off because of just being a fixed side. So that's what I've got for you. Again, you're going to want to pick and choose again in terms of side to side play, anything like that. I'll do a little, I've got some momentum there. And even though these shifted, the stable 20s, look at that, just rock solid thanks to the magnet. But that's what I've got for you. Some of you are thinking, man, it would be nice if there is a way you could sort of do this with less space and without cutting. And that may be where we go next. You'll want to stay tuned for that one. Some of you probably know what I've got up my sleeve. Others of you might not, and you'll definitely enjoy it. Downside to this setup, aside from the taller height of the fins, if you will, is really just your limited color options. If you're high-vis, green, orange, blue, if that's what you've come to know and love from Ernst, as best I recall, these rails are available in black and red. So you'll want to factor that in. Again, for something like this, people are either the type that use open ends all the time or almost never. And if you have a comprehensive set of them, they're great as kind of like a secondary wrench. Again, depending on what you do, they may be your primaries. But if you've got a secondary set, something like this would be really good, because you could go SAE and metric. If you've got exactly that wrench set, we'll just say 1/4 through 1 inch or something, boom, cut it. You now have this free. I could cut these and have them separated, right? Lots and lots of customization options with this. The black is really nice in my opinion, because it just kind of blends in seamlessly. Unless you're running some funky drawer liner, right? This is just a seamless transition. Very, very clean, aesthetically pleasing. But with that said, that's what I've got for you. That is from Ernst. It is their magnetic wrench rack. This one's fully adjustable. You can trim it. You can do whatever you need to do to customize it. This is kind of just a quick little sample of it. And ultimately, I've kind of got some stuff in mind, but sadly, the short drawer height of that Husky is kind of changing my plans. So we'll see how it pans out. If you want to see how that stuff goes, make sure to follow along. Well, that said, what I want to know from you, are you this type of a person? Do you love these adjustable rails? Keep in mind, you can do funkier things with them. You can have a situation where this is straight and this one's angled. You can support, again, if you've got like one brand or spec of wrench, it kind of makes things easier. If you don't, I mean, this is Stavila open end and Gedore offset boxes combined on one rail. And again, with the gripper or the standard wrench rack, we could not do that. So let me know what you think of it, what you're using them for. If this is your go-to, if it used to be your go-to but you found something better, if you have tried everything and this is amongst your favorites, what wrenches are you using these for? Do you cut them a ton? Do you leave them intact? Whatever you want to talk about, feel free to leave it down below. With that said, I got to get back in front of the fan. And, hope you're staying cool out there. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, whatever you want to talk about, feel free. Similarly, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Again, if you haven't subscribed, if you do that, ring the bell, jump your Charger across the creek while sporting your Ernst magnetic wrench rack that you custom tailored to hold exactly what you need. YouTube just might notify you. We got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, thanks again for watching. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop.